I did a video about a month or so ago to do with the whole David Coote debacle, and I actually did a couple of videos on it. And the theme of it was that the David Coote situation is only the tip of the iceberg, and that the PGMOL are getting away with murder. So I want to follow up on that today. We're rid of David Coote. He's not coming back. But we're not rid of the problems that allowed him to thrive. We're not rid of Michael Oliver. We're not rid of Howard Webb. And we're not rid of the PGMOL. It stinks. I call the video the rot within the PGMOL. And it is. It's rotten to the core. And nothing changes. I said at the time that what will happen will be this big uproar about David Coote to be all over the news. They'll get rid of him, they'll shut up shop, and it'll all go away. And that's exactly what's happened. They said they did an investigation, but we haven't heard any word about what happened, what became of it, what action plans we're going to take to prevent this type of thing in the future. But let's start with Michael Oliver, because he was the centre of attention yesterday in the Merseyside derby. A referee who was once considered by me and by many to be the best referee in the league. If you had him on your game, you thought you've got a good chance of fairness. And then, I don't know if it's coincidence or not, but he went to referee in the UAE and in the Saudi League, got paid bucket loads of money from influential people in the game, and he's never been the same. In 2020, he was the referee that failed to take action when Jordan Pickford put Virgil van Dijk out for the season. Only last March, he was the referee who failed to give a penalty to Liverpool when Doku kung fu kicked Alexis McAllister. He's also been involved in situations, many of them, where Arsenal were the team that were on the end of his incompetence. I can't say with certainty, because I don't have evidence, that it's corruption. But it stinks. And the things that he has done to Arsenal, and the things that he has done to Liverpool, and the things that he has done in favour of Manchester City follow a pattern. He has done some blatantly disgusting decisions in favour of Manchester City. And he's done the same against Arsenal and against Liverpool. And who are the two teams that have been challenging Man City, who have been the only two rivals of Man City in the last few years, when he's suddenly become the worst referee in England now that David Coote's gone? So I want to talk a little bit more about last night, because there's a bit of a theme going round that a draw was the fair result. And it was. I fully accept that on the balance of that game, that Everton deserved a point. It's how they got it. The first goal that Everton scored was not a foul by Alexis McAllister, and he was a yard away. And it's been called out today by Keith Hackett, ex-PGMOL, saying it was a horrendous decision. He also went on to say he did 5 of those during the game. 5 fouls where there was no contact, or it wasn't worthy of a foul. Coote was fouled for Everton's second goal. Virtually everyone has agreed with that. I've even seen Man United players and Man United fans say that should have been called as a foul. Coote was pushed. Just prior to that, Salah was clean through. One player to beat to make it 3-1, and Salah is taken out. Very clearly taken out. He's right up with the play as well, and he doesn't call it. And the other thing about that game last night, Liverpool had, I think, 68% possession, somewhere around 68%. Everton had 32. So Liverpool had 2/3 of the possession versus 1/3. The foul count was 20 Liverpool fouls, 9 Everton fouls. Now, which of those teams is generally the aggressor? We had the ball for 2/3 of the time, but we had more than double the amount of fouls that they did. And anyone who understands the game of football can look at that game and say there was an agenda to not give fouls to Liverpool and to give fouls to Everton, irrespective of whether there was a foul committed or not. All he had to do was fall over. And it was shocking, but he is shocking. He's cost titles, this fella. Titles are won on fine margins, a point here and there, and he's been involved in taking points away from Liverpool and Arsenal and giving points to Manchester City. They are facts. Some of these errors have been called out as facts, that yeah, we got it wrong. They've admitted to them they got it wrong. Oops, got it wrong, sorry, but nothing happens. His most recent terrible decision before yesterday was the Arsenal versus Wolves game, where he sent off Lewis Skelly, which I think we can all agree is probably the most mind-boggling, head-scratching sending off we've ever seen. But it wasn't just him that sent it off, it was also backed up by VAR. And of course, there was outrage because of it, as there should have been. Arsenal fans are calling corruption, as they should, because they've been on the end of other stuff from him. Kovacic not getting sent off, is sending off of Arsenal players on a routine basis. So what did they do? They take him off the next game because there's such uproar about his competency level, his ability to make the right calls. So what did he do? They take him out and then they put him back in probably the highest pressure game imaginable, the last ever Merseyside derby at Goodison. It was always going to be a pressure cooker, and he's not up to it, and they gave him the job. Another one that was one of his pro-Man City decisions was when Cole Palmer took a free kick for Chelsea and Jack Grealish was in the wall, and the wall came apart and Jack Grealish went like that and the ball hit his arm right there. Unnatural position, clear as day, no penalty given by Michael Oliver. So that's enough about him, but he's still there. We've still got to put up with him. Let's move on to the PGMOL. In 2016, Mark Halsey, ex-referee, came out and said the PGMOL told him to lie in match reports, and the PGMOL said no, we didn't, and that was it. Case closed. No further action taken. The PGMOL head back in the early 2020s was Mike Riley, another incredibly incapable referee. He's given the head job in the early 2020s. In 2022, Mike Riley is removed from that job. The reason being that the PGMOL said they were going to have a radical upheaval of the whole refereeing setup because of a decline in standards and complaints from Premier League clubs. So in 2022, they were revamping everything. So they got rid of Mike Riley, and who did he give it to? Howard Webb. Probably even worse than Mike Riley as a referee. One who the majority of football fans believe had an agenda that favoured Man United and was against everybody else. Whether you believe that or not, nobody trusted him, and they give him the top job. So the PGMOL is revamped in 2022. Howard Webb takes over. Who does Howard Webb give, or who do the PGMOL give the job of the head of coaching? The person who's responsible to coach referees, to make them better, to be their coach, Lee Mason. Lee Mason. He might even be worse than Mike Riley and Howard Webb. I wouldn't even accuse him of being corrupt. He was just completely incompetent. He's the head of coaching to this day. Do you know who the select Group 1 coach is? I don't even know what that means, by the way. The select Group 1 coach. But currently, the select Group 1 coach is Martin Atkinson. A referee who, I mentioned this before, but Paul Tompkins did an entire study on, which proved scientifically to about the 98th percentile that Martin Atkinson had a absolute agenda against Liverpool. He is the select Group 1 coach for the PGMOL right now. Now, Howard Webb was given the job to improve the standards because Mike Riley couldn't do it and everyone was complaining about it because the standards were crap back in 2022. The worst now. There's never been refereeing this bad. Ever. Not in my lifetime. I've not seen it. They are absolutely diabolical. The refereeing in English is the worst in Europe, and I would suggest the worst in the world. I don't know all the other countries in the world, but if there's one worse than England, I'd love to see it, because I don't know how it could be. Now Howard Webb, who was incompetent as a referee, even when he comes out with his stuff on the telly trying to explain things, he makes no sense. He is a big part. Now, it's now 2024, so the standards have gone down since he's been in the position. They've got worse. So he's part of the problem. So if he's part of the problem, how can he be the one with the accountability to solve it? Because he's not capable of solving it. Let's just go back just for a second to the David Coote investigation. We were told that they were going to do a full review of it, which they apparently did. And they said the investigation was concluded and he sacked him. But we haven't heard anything. There's been no action plan, there's been no changes, there's been nothing at all. It's silence, like it always is, from the PGMOL. And what has come with this organisation called the PGMOL has come this incredible level of power that they've got, and I don't know where they got it from or why they have it. You know, when there used to be bookings that were like, right, that's a warning, and if you do it again you're getting a red card, which is still in play, but these yellow and red cards now are being used for power. So back to last night's game. At the end of the game, Michael Oliver showed 4 red cards. Arne Slot, outraged by what he's seen, he goes and confronts Oliver. Now, I don't know what he said. He's supposed to have said stuff. I don't know if he said stuff or it was the firm handshake or whatever it was. I don't care. What Michael Oliver did was like, red card, you're gone, mate. I've got all the power and you've got none. It doesn't matter that I just cost you the game. It doesn't matter that my performance was absolutely appalling. None of that matters because I've got the protection of the PGMOL and I've got this card. And see this, that gets you sent off. And it also means, guess what? You can't say nothing after the game now. You can't even go on telly. And you're going to get banned for a few games. So I have got all the power and you've got none. How's it come to that? Managers can't say anything. Even the ones who don't get red cards, who are on the end of these appalling decisions. And this is not just about Liverpool. I mean, I've been talking earlier, Arsenal have had some terrible ones. But the managers have to go on, they can't say nothing. Because if they do, the all-powerful, secretive organisation of the PGMOL just takes them to task, fines them, bans them. How? Why? Why is that okay? They've got the entire Premier League under their control. Players can't say nothing. Managers can't say nothing. Clubs can't say nothing. Why? don't get it. There's one thing I've noticed. This is something to think about. In the past, we've seen these incredibly insane decisions go a certain way. Big decisions, the ones that won titles, lost titles, changed games. And they were like the Rodri ball against Everton that wasn't given. They were the Doku penalty that wasn't given. Sending off like the Lewis Skelly one the other day was appalling. These are big decisions in games. It goes way back. Martin Atkinson failed to give Liverpool a penalty against Leicester back in the Brendan Rodgers era, when that penalty could have won Liverpool the league. So it's been going on forever. Don't forget, Martin Atkinson's still there. But I think a new tactic's going on. Seems to be a new approach. And this was actually pointed out to me by a mate of mine, Dan Bennett, who keeps calling it the little things. And it's the little things. The little things yesterday, like giving Everton a free kick that shouldn't be, that allows them to launch it into the box, gives them the attacking impetus, not giving Mo Salah a foul when Liverpool are on the break and allowing Everton to go back break that way. These are just examples. But a game a few weeks ago, at one end of the pitch, Joe Gomez kicked the ball against the other player, and it was given as a goal kick, and it should have been a corner. Little things. At the other end of the pitch, the other player kicked it out of play, didn't touch Joe Gomez, and he gave it as a corner when it should have been a goal kick. The little things. And there was so many little things yesterday. Every time Liverpool got near the ball, he blew. Everton players went down, he blew. He got us off the attack, and he got the other team on the attack. Given opportunities to score goals that they shouldn't have because they're not fouls. Taking away opportunities to score goals because you're giving fouls that shouldn't be. Or you're failing to give fouls that most clearly are, like the Mo Salah one yesterday. So keep an eye out for it, because you can influence a game just as much by preventing certain teams attacking and allowing other teams to attack, just as much as you can by one big decision. And I think it's going on. So, the referee in England is the worst in the world. The referee's capability, impartiality, fairness, honesty are all in question. The PGMOL is like this secret organisation where there is no transparency whatsoever. And that's a big problem for us, because we don't know what's going on. So what are the PGMOL doing about it? What are they doing about this crisis of refereeing standards? We don't know. Are they doing anything? We don't know. What about the revamp that was going to elevate standards? Where's the plan? Where's the action plan? Where's the 10-step program to get things to a greater level? Where's the increased coaching of these referees? Lee Mason? Why the silence? Why is there no plan? Why is there no announcement of a plan? Why are incompetent referees allowed to continue unchecked week in, week out? And doesn't matter what they get wrong, it just goes away, and they get on the field the next week and they do it again. And finally, and I think this is massive, why are the clubs accepting this? You saw Slot yesterday, you've seen Arteta, you've seen Postecoglou outraged by what is going on the field, by these 1, 2 or 3 officials that are changing games and losing people jobs with their incompetence. Why are the clubs not banding together and saying, we're not going to take this anymore, we need action and we need it now? Because if we don't, it's not going to change, it's going to get worse, and these incompetents run by Howard Webb are going to continue getting away with it, and we can't let that happen. That's enough for today. You'll never walk alone. Cheers, thanks for listening. Ta-ra.